Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all okay and have managed to get caught up with your maths and work over the last couple of days. Now, as we've only got a couple of days of work before the bank holiday on Friday, I thought for maths we'd do something a little bit different. Now, rather than doing the white rose maths, I would like you to do a bit of an investigation. I wanted you to do something a little bit more practical, a bit different from what we have been doing. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you to talk you through this lesson of how I'd like you to do it. Let me just share my screen. I'll get very tiny again into the corner. Okay, so I'm just going to start this as a slideshow. And let's have a look. Okay, so we're going to do like a 2-day maths investigation, and obviously at the moment there's lots about rainbows, so I thought a nice colour-based investigation might be quite fun, and it's something I think that all of you will be able to do with the things you have at home. So we're going to do some data handling. Now you're going to look around your house for objects of all different colours. Now I know you've been doing something a little bit similar to this for Mrs. Wise, where you've been sending in some photos. So we're going to have a go at creating a tally chart for different objects in different colours, just to remind ourselves as how we can record things as a tally. And then you're going to convert that and have a go at drawing some different types of graphs. So how do we do a tally chart? You're going to draw a little table onto a piece of paper or into a book, and I'd like you to choose 6 different colours. I think it's probably going to be easier if we stick to the same colours as the questions I've written later. It will make that a little bit easier. So you're going to write down one column: blue, red, yellow, green, orange and purple. And then you're going to go all over your house. Now I only just did a couple of rooms to show you this as an example, and I want you to find everything that you can that's blue. So every time you find a blue object, you put a mark on your tally chart. Every time you find a red object, you put a mark on the red tally chart, and go all around your house looking for as many different things as you can, because actually it's more challenging if you've got higher numbers to work with. So this is what I did. I only did a couple of rooms, so my numbers aren't particularly big, but I just wanted to show you what I meant and what you needed to do. So you have to remember that when you're doing a tally chart, if you can see just here on my tally, I've got blue. So I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for the 5th one, I do a horizontal line. So for blue, I've actually got 5, 10, 14 objects that I found in blue. But obviously, if you do your whole house, you will be able to have much bigger numbers. Now, once you've done your tally for all the different colours, what you can do is create another column and you total how many you found for each one. So you can see I had 14 blue objects, 10 red objects, 9 yellow, 15 for green, 10 for orange and 2 for purple. That total column is quite helpful for us for drawing our graphs. Now, how can we show this data onto a graph? Can you remember what different types of graphs can we draw? There are 3 main types really that we use in year 5 and 6. Have a little think. Can you remember which ones they are? Any ideas? Here we go. So you can have a bar chart, a line graph, or a pie chart. Now, bar chart and a line graph, they're slightly easier to draw, and we'll have done those lower down the school. But obviously, if you manage to get some larger numbers, it can make it a bit more tricky. So they're the slightly easier ones. A pie chart is a little bit more challenging, and I put on this slideshow a bit later on that if you're in Mr. Paul's maths group, I really want you to have a go at creating a pie chart, because you have to really think about angles in a circle and how you're going to share your numbers actually into degrees for the circle, which is a little bit more tricky. So how do we create a graph? First of all, it must have an X and a Y axis. Remember, the Y axis goes straight up and down, a vertical line, and your X axis, that's your horizontal line going across. Both of those axes must be labelled so we know that what they are showing. Your chart must have a title, and the units along the x-axis must be equal. So if you're doing bar charts, they're all the same width, because if one's wider than the other, it's not very equal. And in maths, everything like that has to be split and divided very fairly. So this is the bar chart that I've created from my tally chart. So if you can remember, I had 14 blue, I had 10 red, and that's shown in each of those. I've actually done this in Word, and I've shown each colour along the horizontal axis. So I've labelled my x-axis with the title of colours, which you can see down here at the bottom, and I've got all the different colours going along that x-axis, and then how many objects I found goes up the y-axis, and you can see colours in my house, that's the title of my graph. That's a nice straightforward bar chart. Then I've done the same, but I've put it into a line graph, and you can see there the difference, how it's plotted. It's just a single plot for each one. You have to read across from your y-axis really, really carefully, and then come down to your colour to make sure that it's in the right spot. So the spacing is still quite evenly spaced between them. And then I've drawn my dots and joined them together with a ruler at the end. Again, I've still got my x-axis has got a title, as does my y, and I've got an overall title for my graph. And then this is my pie chart. Now, like I said, this one is a little bit more difficult. You have to remember that there are 360 degrees in a circle. I put that as a little clue on the left-hand side, and that you need that knowledge to help you to draw a pie chart. I recommend, the only way that really you can do it is that you total up how many objects you found. So if I add my blue, orange, yellow, green, red and purple, I've actually got 60 objects altogether. Now, if I divide 360 degrees by that total of 60, that means each object gets an angle of 6 degrees. And then from there, I can multiply the numbers to know what angle I need to draw with my protractor. Now, I know it's a bit tricky because some of you might not have a protractor at home. If you don't, but you want to have a go at this, you can do some estimating, because you know that a right angle is 90 degrees. So you could use the corner of a piece of paper. And then from there, you could almost make your own protractor lines with a good estimate. And that might be a really good way to have a go at a pie chart if you don't have a protractor at home. But it's a good extra step of calculation if you are in Mr. Hall's group or even Miss Stray's group for maths, that you are having a go at those pie charts, please. If you can do that, that'd be brilliant. I'd love to see some photographs of them. But, you know, if you're in any of the maths group, there's no saying, oh, well, if you're in my group that you can't have a go. If you're in Mr. Evans' group, if you're in year 5, then it doesn't matter which year group you're. If you want to have a go, then please do. It'd be great to see some of those. So which graph should I draw? I've already covered this really, but it's just so it's written down if you want to have a look. The easy one, like I said, is drawing a bar or a line graph. You could have a go at doing that first and then have a go to pie chart if you feel like you'd like to challenge yourself. Please use a ruler. You can always use the edge of a book or a cereal box if you haven't got one at home. And I've put at the bottom, if you're in Mr. Hall's maths group, I really would like you to have a go at drawing a pie chart, and make sure you keep sending photos, because I really like to see how you've got on with this task. Now, once you've done those, I've then written some questions on this following slide about, it's like it's analysis really of what you have found about a different mathematical language that I've used in there, finding the difference, totals, fractions, percentages, all those things. Now, the bottom 3 questions are a challenge. Again, I'm directing some of these questions, these challenges for Mr. Hall, because you're in year 6 and you will have covered these topics and will know how to have a tackle at them. But if you feel you can do it, then brilliant. Have a go at the challenge, whichever group you're in, if you are up for it, and let me know how you get on. Now, I reckon that this work should take you probably 2 days to do all of that. If you feel that you've done all of that in a day and you want something else to do on Thursday, I've put on this slide the extension, and you could basically have a go at creating your own tally chart on something else and then drawing a graph for that one. A good one if you live near a busy road or a busy high street, because obviously we're not going out a lot at the moment. I know it's difficult. If you look out your window, I've done these before where I've said, right, I've made my tally chart of cars, bikes, people, dogs, cats, and I sit by my window for 20 minutes and I tally all of them going past, and then you could do a graph to show that. You could even do that different times of the day to compare how things differently, you know, people come at different times. Sometimes you might see which times of day are more busy than others. You might want to have a look at the animals or the insects you've got in the garden. What can you find? You might do a practical one. How many star jumps can each member of your family do in a minute? And you could tally that and challenge them to those. So this is only if you feel that by Thursday you've done all the work on the previous slides. You might not get to this, but it's there if you need it. Okay, I'm just going to go back to my big screen. So hope that all makes sense. So by the end of the couple of days, I would like to have seen that you've had a go at the tally chart with the colours, you've created one of the graphs or maybe two. Have a go, excuse me, have a go at drawing them first. If you've got a computer and you want to have a go at doing them on Word, then that's brilliant. You can do that as well. But it's a really good, it's good practice to try drawing things with the ruler, straight lines, and splitting things up equally, because it actually can be quite difficult. And please send me some photographs of your graphs and your tally charts so I can have a look at what you've been doing. Remember, any questions, you can always email me on the Larch email. I will be around over the next couple of days. And I look forward to seeing some of your work when you've finished. And I think that's it from me. So have a good couple of days and I'll see you all very soon. All right then, take care. Bye-bye.